Welcome to Holding Space with Authentically Amy. This is a place where you don't have to perform, prove, or hold it all together. You're allowed to exhale, to feel, to speak, or just be. Here, your truth is safe, your emotions are honored, and your soul is gently invited to the surface. I'm not here to fix you because I don't believe you're broken. I believe your soul already knows the way. My role isn't to give you advice, but to hold a steady frequency of love so you have space to rise. This podcast is an extension of my own healing. If you're here, you belong, and I'm honored to sit beside you. Welcome to another episode of Holding Space with Authentically Amy. I'm your host, Amy Thurman, and I am so grateful that you're here watching and tagging along. Thank you for being here, and I'm so honored to have our guest today, Lynn. Lynn, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Amy, for having me. Like I said, like-minded people, being in this contribution in the world is just amazing. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm honored. I'm eager to visit with you. And, it's interesting. People ask me a lot, why don't you introduce your guest? I do things so differently on this podcast than most people do because I don't introduce the guest at all. I just say your first name and we just go from there because I like to get to know you. Like I don't preface anything. This is the first time I'm getting to know you. This is the first time my audience is getting to know you. And I like for us to get to know people as a human first before we know anything about who you are and what you do. And so that's why, if you have been wondering why I do what I do, that's why. It makes it more authentic and organic. And so
I couldn't agree more. I think that's great. I really do. I think that's so it's refreshing.
Yeah, good. I hear that a lot too. A lot of people are like that it's just different and that it's just real, it's not polished at all. It's just real. So
well, and don't we have to walk in this world? So sometimes we have to put on faces that we really don't, and you kind of hide behind them. And unfortunately, I think that that's such a disservice to our soul and to who we are as beings, right? And so I love that. I love that you're just, we're going to put it out there, and you get to listen, the good, bad, and the ugly, right? We all have it because we're human beings. So we gotta,
right.
Yeah, right. So I'll let you lead us into whatever you'd like to start the conversation with. I'm open to anything. There's really nothing you couldn't ask me, we couldn't talk about. That's why I love the shows like this, because honestly, they really do give you the ability to just be yourself.
Oh yeah, that's what I want. That's what I'm after. That's who I am. It's just this show is just a reflection of who I am at my core, and so I think that's why it's so near and dear to my heart. But I'm here to hold space for you. And so if there is anything on your heart that you would like to talk about today, I'm just here to hold space. So I'm going to turn it over to you and let you share what you want to share today.
Okay, thank you. I love that. And not often we get somebody that let me say more about that, because holding space for somebody really means that you're going to be there for them in such a way that they don't have judgment about maybe what is on your heart or what is God, what is possibly challenging you in our human levels, right? Because that's where our challenges are. They're in our humanity and the way that things come at us a little bit. And I believe that we really choose our own creation and how we're showing up in the world, right? So sometimes when we get something that's super heavy, well, it's because we just have to dive deeper and look at that. And I do have, for me, I've been doing this a really long time, meaning movement to higher consciousness. That's my life purpose. And so the work that I've been doing, I don't wake up at 8 o'clock and go to work. It's fully immersed in who I am. And it started when I was a child, obviously being very, very intuitive and not really understanding or knowing if that was something that everybody had. It just felt like, as everybody was tuned into. And, as the years have gone, almost 30 years that I've been doing this for a living, I've noticed that it's really my whole journey is about educating people about intuition so that it's not some phenomenon, right? So that it's something that we all naturally live and grow with and learn how to be in the world with, right? And so I feel like for me, I have what's on my heart, what I'm needing, or wanting you to hold space for is just that there's a normalization to what intuition is, and that it's not something that has to be seen as anything but authentically us. It's the messaging system from a higher source, right? Whether you call that God or the co-creation of, the creator, or divine wisdom, as what I call it. So there's just a space for us to learn how to embrace it in such a way that is not outside of us, that is something that's a messaging system within us that we can listen to when we are challenged, or when we want to share it with somebody else and maybe contribute in their life some way. And I've just been working at it for a long time, and when I say working at it, it kind of feels like that sometimes. Like it
Yeah.
feels a little heavy for people, and I'm like, it's really not a heavy thing. But I do think you get thrown into different dynamics in the world, more of an analytical kind of I've worked with corporate people. I've worked with,
Yeah.
very, all the way to very, very grounded spiritual people too. And there's just such a maybe mysticism to it. And I'd like to make that become normalized. So it's not. So it's just a natural way of being. And if you look at young children, they're highly intuitive. And sometimes we don't mean to, but we teach it out of
Yes.
them because we don't
Yes.
really know how to educate them about that part of themselves. So I consider myself an intuitive educator and been doing it for a really long time. And, you could hold the space for it to become as normalized as what I know it to be. That would be lovely. And that would be something that would really help me, not just me personally, but me and my mission and what I'm on, with my company and all the things that I do.
That's so beautiful. It resonates so deeply with me and my
Oh,
mission
wonderful.
too, because much like IQ and emotional intelligence, I've been talking recently more about authentic intelligence
Ooh,
that the
tell me more
body
about that.
has, right?
Yeah.
That I'm discovering this authentic intelligence that we as humans, because we are so saturated with AI,
Yes.
but that we as humans, we have an innate wisdom within us that can
100%.
only be tapped into when we reach that authentic state of owning who we are at our core. My business is called Polish the Mirror, and that is about removing all of the expectations and the roles that we play and the masks that we wear, all of those things that are distorting are the mirror of our lives, so that we
Wow.
can see our reflection clearly and own our authentic self, know who we are at our core. Because people tell you, just be yourself, just be authentic, and people come to me and say, Amy, I want to, but I don't know who I am, I don't know how to do that.
Right. Well, do
And
you feel
so
like
it's
mostly because they've gone so far away from it, from who they were as a child, or that I believe that it's the judgments, even self-judgment, right? So we teach, and my team, and that judgment is the killer of higher consciousness, and that's really at the core of my mission. I would say, is to remove the judgment. But here's the thing: you're going to judge a million times a day. It's a matter of how
yeah,
quickly you see it, notice it, and judgment for
yes,
me is wanting separation, right? Separation from others or feeling separate from others. And then you also have the when you feel separate from yourself, meaning you're judging, you have self-judgment of who you are. So do you feel like when what you're speaking of is more about like we've gone so far away from that we've kind of hidden our own authentic self based upon the judgments that either we felt from ourselves, from other people, or we're having with other people, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I fully believe that we came here knowing who we are and what our purpose is
Yes.
in this timeline, in this lifetime, and that well-meaning, like you said, well-meaning people in our
Yep.
lives teach us otherwise and convince us that what we know innately that is true isn't true, and they pressure us and they judge us and they
Yep.
convince us that we really don't know what we're talking about. And so we're conditioned to become what people tell us we're supposed to be.
So
And
true.
right.
Yes, so
And
true.
it's this part of what I say is it really is just a remembering of who you
Yes.
are. It's not, people say, we're becoming, this is who you're becoming. No, we're not becoming
No, I agree
anyone.
with you
We
wholeheartedly.
we already
No, we're
are.
already
We just have
there.
to
We got to
remember.
get back to what, yes. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
and
couldn't
I
agree
love.
more because you're not becoming something other than who you already are, but you have to remember what you were at the core when you first, came into this existence and wanting what you wanted to be challenged with. A lot of people say, well, why is it so hard? And I'm like, well, we actually really signed up for it to be challenging. This is the Harvard of Earth, right? Earth is our,
Yes.
or whatever Ivy League college, right? It's the big one that's going to really get us. And we signed up for that. We want to be challenged. We want to grow. We want to learn. This is the part of us that's like, please, make it more difficult. It's hard to think in those terms, though, isn't it, Amy? It's hard to think that
You,
we really want that, but we
it,
do.
yes, it's so true. And I love that you brought up the concept of judgment because
Yes.
that's what society teaches us to do. But
Yes.
once you're able to understand and own your authentic self and tap into your intuition like you teach,
Yes.
you begin to come from a place of curiosity. I know that's my life now. I don't
I love
judge
that.
anymore.
Right.
I
Well, you do
heard
judge. So I want to challenge that because
yeah,
as human
yeah.
beings, we will always judge. So people go, well, I'm not in judgment anymore. And I go, that's not true because we have, as humans, we will judge, but it's how quickly you notice it and let it go. Notice it, let it go. Right? You might
Okay.
get up in the morning and go, look in the mirror and go, well, you have a moment of it. So it's a moment of judgment or years of it. And what I hear you saying is
Mm,
that you brought that down to it's a moment. I know I'm doing it. Boom, let it go.
yeah.
Right? Is that what you're thinking?
Yes,
Yeah.
because I'm so in tune with myself. And
Yeah.
part of this I feel like too, I lived 10 years with a broken neck that went
Oh,
undiagnosed for
wow.
6 months, right? I
Okay.
almost died. I had to relearn to walk. Like I just lost
I
the
didn't know
life
that
that I
part of your
used to have.
story, Amy. Wow.
Yeah, I completely
Okay.
lost who I was before. I was working at a major university, lost my job, lost my sense of self-worth, almost lost myself because I almost swallowed a handful of pills. And
Yeah.
it was a miserable existence. But I
Yeah.
got to I got to remember who I was, and recreate my life. And,
Well, don't
but
I mean I truly always believe here's what I teach is pain, struggle, and fear, right? Pain, struggle, and fear. They're motivators. They're there really to motivate us back to, okay, what was that I was supposed to be doing? What was the internal messaging system trying to give me the guidance to do? And when we hit the wall with the pain, the struggle, the fear, to your point, when you got that
mm,
so you were stopped by it, it has you, there's no other place but to look in and go, okay, I'm either going to leave here, because this too much pain. I can relate. I had situation as well with cancer and just all kinds of different really strong challenges that make you look like I've got to really look at this and see, how do I want to shift something? Don't I have enough stronger boundaries? Do I need to, how do you have to shift your life? So when you did that, did you, like, how did you come back to you? Was it just basically you're at the bottom of the barrel here? You got hit the wall?
oh yeah, I literally
Yeah.
almost swallowed a handful of pills. But
Yeah.
before I could get to that point, my soul spoke to me and said, "What if you don't have to die? What if you
Mm.
can make a different choice? What if you
Yeah.
can take the same energy you're using trying to die, flip it around and use it to fight to live? Maybe you can
Wow.
help people and use your story to help people." And so I wrote a whole book about this journey and it became a
Yeah.
bestseller in 2 days and took on a life of its
Oh, wow.
own.
I'm so happy for you.
Right. And
And
gave
for
me
the
a
people
whole
that
new
got to read
life.
it.
Thank you. Yeah. Readers tell me that my book literally saved their lives. It's
See, that's
wild. It's
that
so
is. Well,
wild.
no, it's
But
it's why you were meant to maybe go through that
yes.
and to bring yourself back through that. And I truly
Yeah.
believe that, we're inspired from within, and that is what gives us the ability to have other people. When you're talking about your soul spoke to you, that would be what the languaging that I use about intuition. I truly believe that's your intuition, like going, hey, hold on here.
Yes.
We got more to do. And you get to choose because, of course, we have free will. So we get to choose
Right.
however we want to do this, good, bad, or ugly. We do get to choose.
Right. And in that
Yeah.
moment, and people who are going through that in a deep, dark place, you don't see any other option. You
No.
feel like that's the only way out. But it was my soul who showed me you have a choice here. And that's one of my missions. One of my messages is that we always have a choice. Exactly what you said.
Yes. Yep.
We can always choose. We're not ever in a corner where we don't have a choice. But
Agreed.
my soul had to bring it to my attention in that moment. And I'm just glad that I chose that.
do you feel like since then you have you gone back? So this is kind of the work that I do. I'm a real deep thinker, and I'm also somebody who
Yeah,
really feels like if you go to the root of something, you don't clip off the weeds at the top, right? You go to the root and grab it, right? So
absolutely.
for me, I'm always looking when I'm connecting with people, it's like, okay, what was at the root of that? When I had cancer, a lot of people we're like, I don't feel like I'm a victim of cancer, so I don't feel like I survived it. I feel like I brought it into my life in such a way so that because I wasn't having strong boundaries about what I needed and what I wanted to create for myself. And so I was a lot in service, but I wasn't bringing myself into the equation to nourish my soul still. And so, didn't have as strong a boundaries as I needed to in my business and different things like that, but I learned so much from it. And I don't believe I needed to have that happen, but I believe because I wasn't allowing myself to really let that messaging come through and to make the corrected actions that I needed to, it happened so that I would do that. Does that make sense to you? So I
Oh,
believe pain, struggle, and
absolutely.
fear are just motivators and they're optional. Like you don't really have to have it. You just have to use it as something that would motivate you through. And it
It,
certainly did for me. Do you know what
oh,
was at the root for you?
so true. Well, my body had been giving me messages. It had been giving me
Okay.
signals before this.
Yes.
Like most of us,
Yes,
I
of
was
course.
so busy. This was the root of it, that I found my self-worth in how much I could do, how much I could
Yes.
accomplish, how
So
busy
many
I
people can
was,
relate to that. Say
right?
that again. That's crucial. Say
Yes,
that again.
right. I
Say that
found
again,
my
how you
sense,
just said that.
yeah, I found my sense of self-worth and how much I could do and how much I could accomplish and how busy I was. And I would bring work home on the weekends and I would
Mm,
volunteer on the weekends and I spent more time with my students than I did my own kids because
wow.
that's where I got my sense of self-worth. And so all of that was completely removed from me, but my body was sending me messages before that I was ignoring because I was too busy. I had too much to do and I refused to listen. So my
Incredibly
body
relatable
just
to
said,
me. Incredibly
yeah,
relatable.
right?
And to, I'm sure, everybody else, like you said in your book, that's why people related to it. We don't realize, and again, your self-worth, you're tied to it, right? But
Yeah.
it starts that place of now it has you instead of you having your own life. Your life is now, it's coming at you instead of you creating it. Don't you feel it?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Because it felt so out of control. I was
for
so
sure.
much about, I want to control all of my environment. And
Mhm.
this was completely out of my control because, for 6 months, I was completely incapacitated for almost a year.
Wow.
But for 6 months, I lived with a broken neck and nobody knew it. And it was
Wow.
just completely out of my control. But like you, I learned so much about myself
Mhm.
through that journey
I always
that I
say
really
though,
wouldn't have
we didn't
learned.
really have to go that route. I look at it and go, okay, I got it. I understand. I understand how to listen to those cues again. And maybe even to afterwards a little oversensitive for myself. Maybe I was a bit oversensitive to like, oop, having too strong of boundaries. And then I had to back that off a little bit. You know what I mean? Because you're learning how to not make everything about well, for me, my passion, the work that I do is my passion and always has been.
Yeah,
Yeah. But at the same time, you have to balance it, right? Balance it with your
yeah.
with your family and with your friends and just and with yourself, the self-nurturing.
Absolutely. And to your point earlier about being in touch with your body, being in touch with
Mhm.
yourself, that intuitive part of us,
Yeah, and
this
messaging
journey
system. Yeah.
of, right, being completely incapacitated, laying flat in bed for 23 hours a day for almost a year, I got in touch with myself
That's for
fully,
sure.
completely. I had to. I
Talk
didn't have
about
to, but I
putting
chose
yourself
to.
into a meditative state. I mean,
Right?
I and really, unfortunately, because I was in so mine wasn't that long. I had cancer in my leg, had a sarcoma in my leg. So for me, mine
Wow.
I had a very strong surgery, a big surgery, had to have. So I was in a wheelchair. My husband had to help the whole time. Same thing. I was bedridden for a long time, and so it gives you but it messes with your mind a bit, right? Because
Yes.
it's not, you're in pain as well. So the pain itself. So it's just such a if you can get beyond it, and a lot of people, I mean, it really takes a toll. So once you are
Mhm.
beyond it, there's a remembrance of that has you go, okay, hold on, let's not make sure that I go there again. And like I said, I think I got a little hypersensitive after. to making sure I had strong boundaries and making sure that I'm on my own mission, because we want to serve other people. Well, at least I do. I mean, I know that's
Absolutely.
you. My
Yeah.
contribution to serving other people is where my value is. It's so it's very important to me. And I believe that's why I was brought here to, do this
Yes.
work. But you have to remember you. And a lot of times we just don't, we get so hypersensitive or hyper focused on other people. And you forget to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. So that we'll go, okay, thank you for that lesson. Don't need to repeat it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And what you were saying earlier about how self-care is part of this too.
Huge.
But
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Mhm.
And I just lost my train of thought. It was just
Yeah,
like
that's okay.
I've
Well,
got so
self-care
many.
comes in so many different ways too, because some people, I believe
Right.
it's mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, it's all four components. And sometimes we do a lot of physical self-care, right? You're exercising or you're doing this or you're taking the nutrition stuff. But what about the emotional self-care? What about the mental
Yes.
self-care, the stimulation for you mentally? And then again, the spiritual, and everybody is different. Some people find their spiritual connection going to church. Some people find it, on the lake. My husband's he's a fisherman, on the lake in his boat. I mean, everybody has the extremes of how they find that, but you have to make sure that you're feeding all four of those components on a regular basis and keeping it balanced. And I
Yeah.
just don't think that we make time for that. On a daily, and we need to until you hit the wall. And
Right.
then
And that,
sometimes it's like, oh,
yes,
hold on, I got to make time for one of these. Yeah.
it leads right into what I was going to say before I
Okay,
lost my
great.
train of thought was
Yes.
I love what you were saying about that we don't have to go through that. Like you and I have
No.
been through traumatic
Yes.
experiences that led us to a deeper part of ourselves. But I believe that, like you said, we don't have to go
No.
through those if we will do that self care, if we will. And
Yeah.
this is what you and
Well, you
I
have to
both
take the internal
are
nudges, right?
bringing to
That's
the
the
world.
intuitive
This
part.
is
Yes.
what you and I are bringing to the world.
Yes.
That when we embrace and learn to connect with that intuitive part of ourselves, then
Yes.
it can get us there without those traumatic events.
100%. And I have to tell you, if we could do that if every human had that capacity, there's no reason to learn from pain, struggle, or fear. There
Ah,
really isn't. However, if you're not listening, of course, that's how
yes,
you're going to learn it. Does that make sense? And a lot of people are like, well, you're
absolutely.
saying it's eradicated from that. And yet that, I said, well, yeah, the lessons have already been taught. I mean, I've always said this, you're not going to take your child and say, here you go, I'm going to put your hand on a hot stove. No one's going to do that to teach them that it's hot and that it's dangerous and that it's going to burn them. We're never going to do something like that unless there's something wrong with us, right? But you're not going to teach in that way. Well, we don't need to learn in that way as well. We don't have to have pain, struggle, and fear to go, wow, that's hot, or that's not something we should be doing. But we do have to be in tune with it. And that's part of my mission, is to make sure that we're always listening on all those levels, to make sure that we do get that internal hint that says, that's not good for you, even if it's good for someone else, right? It doesn't have to be whatever it may be. It's something that is really good for you, but it's not for me. And I'm doing it because you want to do it, or I'm giving up what I'm looking for, or you're vice versa. We can't do that anymore. We really do have to stay guided within our own self and say, hey, that's just not going to work for me. How do we negotiate a different way to do this so that I don't have to give up what's authentic for me, for you, in order for us to be connected? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. It's so
Yeah.
good. I would love for you to share like
Hmm.
what do you recommend? People are like, what are you I know that I have intuition. I've heard that
Yes.
before. I don't understand what it is, but how do I do that? Like what is the first step that you usually recommend for people to begin this journey?
So the first thing is really kind of what I've already talked about, is really noticing. If you notice, and again, my terminology of judgment is maybe not the Webster dictionary term, but it's when you want separation, or if you feel separate. So if I feel separate from you, I'm feeling like there's judgment coming at me. If I'm wanting separation from you, then I'm actually judging you. If I want it within myself, it's self-judgment. The first thing you can do, because you cannot hear your own internal intuitive messaging system if judgment is present. It's not even possible. And most people really
Yeah.
don't understand that. So judgment is separation. Discernment is the facts. So there's facts about certain things. I'm on a podcast with you. That's a fact. Judgment is, I'm on a podcast with you. I don't really want to be on the podcast. Do you see how they can
Yes.
both have the same thing, but one, you can feel the judgment of, I want separation from what I'm doing right now. The other one is discernment. I'm on a podcast with Amy. And so there's facts in something. So when you can differentiate between what are the facts and what is the judgment, that skill right there, only that skill alone will stop the mental mind chatter of separation if you
Hmm.
notice it. So if you stop and say, okay, listen, I'm in traffic, I'm judging the traffic. I don't, I want separation from this. And if you can just go, wow, I'm in judgment. Okay, first thing is, I'm going to discern the facts are there's a lot of traffic and let go of the judgment of it. The moment you do that, you're opening your own messaging system. You're opening the avenue to receive the messages or the intuition, right? Because intuition is the messaging system from higher source, whatever,
Right.
I don't define it for people, whether you call it
Sure.
God or you call it, your gut instinct. It doesn't make any difference what you're calling it, but you do have to make sure that that intuition is open. And the first way to do that is remove all judgment. Well, to your point, we judge a lot, but we can
Yeah.
we can notice it and let go, notice it and let go. And you might have longer periods of time where you're not having that anymore. So that's the first thing, is to notice when you're doing it. And nobody else really can notice it but you, because you know whether you feel whether you feel discernment or whether you want separation. Like, everybody knows that. And when you can differentiate between the two, you're opening that I'll say that messaging, maybe the communication to intuition, right? To allow that. And then the secondary part of it is, you have to be willing to know how to hear some things, or to get the messages around some things that might be harder subjects for you. So when we push kind of away with something that you're going, I really don't want to deal with that, and you're
Hmm.
avoiding it, you have to be open to dealing with some of those rooted
Yeah.
issues, right? And I always tell people, I promise that intuition will get you through it. But sometimes journaling, people do meditation.
Oh,
That's why meditation works, right? That's why journaling
yeah.
works, because you're getting all that mental stop points, that mental chatter, that mental things that are going, ooh, I don't want to deal with that. You're getting all that out of you. And so if you journal, you're also kind of purging a lot of your mental mind chatter about judgment and that what you've had. So those are two really strong ways to start it. And then to be quite honest with you, Amy, intuition is natural. It's not
It
something you have to
is.
learn how to do. It's something you have to stop doing
Yes.
the behaviors that keep it from coming through, because it's a
Oh, that's
natural
so
part of
good.
us. Yeah. That quiet, a
That's
lot of
so
people call
good.
it the quiet inner whisper. Some people are like,
Yeah.
wow, it hits me really hard. It's a strong knowing, which I'm a knowing based person. So, there's feeling, hearing, knowing, and seeing. And most of us have one that's stronger, and then that kind of goes in a circuit, is what I teach like, I'm a knowing based. And then if I don't listen to that part of me, then it'll drop into my visual and I'll get visuals of something. Then if I don't listen to that, it drops into my feeling and I'll get a feeling about something. And then my last circuit is hearing, and I'll actually hear something that is like, it might be it might be in a tone in your voice. And I go, ooh, okay, I missed those messages. So it circuits that way. But you can't even hear the first one if you're
Yeah.
too much in judgment or self-judgment. And so
Mm.
we've got to stop that first. And the way you do it is you notice it. You notice it's
Oh,
present. Yeah.
yeah. And you know what we have to do to be able to notice or to differentiate between judgment and discernment, we have to slow down enough
Slow down.
to be
Hmm.
able to do that. And one of the things that I have learned, like just using judgment as an example, is that I feel it in my body before I hear it or before my brain
So,
even registers it.
okay. So I love that you're saying this, Amy. So you're obviously a feeling based person. You actually have feelings that come to you, because you talk about it in your body a lot, where I'm a
Hmm.
knowing based. I just know it's not analytical for me, even though I'm very analytical person by nature, but I just know what I don't know, right? It's like, wow, I know something's coming at me. You are more a feeling based because you feel it in your body. So I love
Yeah.
that you even differentiated that between our conversation. Some people go, yeah, I'm more like Amy. I'm more like Lynn, in the knowing. And other people are like really visual people, or they actually hear tone. They'll hear it in a song, they'll
Mm.
hear it in somebody's voice. They actually might even hear an inner voice that actually has tone to it. So, yeah.
That's so interesting that you say that because I do have a ringing in one of my ears. I mean, my
Mm,
ears have started ringing since my brain injury, but there
gotcha.
are times where I have this specific ringing in one of my ears, and it's like trying to get my attention. Like I
Is it
know every time I
left
hear
ear?
it is.
Yeah. So left ear is
Uh-huh.
spiritual. And so a lot
Uh-huh.
of time left side is spiritual. So there's something about your next journey, if I may, because I never cross people's
Yeah.
free will. So if you're open to me saying anything,
Yes, please.
and I think that's really important. I want to bring that up. It's so important we may be able to quote unquote read somebody or
Yes.
intuit for somebody. I'm a strict stickler. I have been for we have a certification training program on intuition, and the number one thing that we teach is you don't cross people's free will. That's very dangerous for you. It's not okay for them. You have to have permission from them to actually, kind of enter their space. Even though we could do it, the truth is you
Right.
can, but
Hmm.
I'm a stickler for you don't. You don't. It's
I
we all
love
have
that.
free will. We all are very we have our boundaries and we're allowed to have them. Even if you know the answer for somebody. It's really
I
hard with
know.
children sometimes because you're like, I really would know the answer for them. But unless they give you the permission, it's not okay for us to cross people's free will. So
Mm.
I wanted to go there first. But then the second
Sure.
part is for you, when you talk about that, if you're okay with it, I really feel like you have another level of your own spiritual growth that that's what the hearing's about. That's what the buzzing in your left ear, because left side is about receiving. And it's the
Mm.
spiritual side of us. The right side of us is more physical, not doing enough physical things. So it flows in that way. And for you, I just feel like there's another level of your own spiritual growth that is calling you forth. And, I would just tune into that to find out like what's the expansion that you're here to do next. It feels very what's the word I want to say? Very contribute like you're going to contribute a lot. So I don't know
Yeah.
if you're in the middle of that or you're getting ready for
Yep.
that. Um,
I am.
Are you? Okay. Okay. Well, then
It's
and I always tell
big.
people it doesn't surprise me of my accuracy, but I think it would be surprising to me if I'm not. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I'm humbly grateful for my connection and what I can do to help people. But
Yeah.
for you, I'm telling you, like you got to tap into, and I think there might be a little fear around that too, Amy.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh, there
yeah.
is. Yeah.
Is there?
There
Okay.
is.
Okay, well
Yeah.
then just
Because this is
fear,
so
remember
much
pain,
bigger than
struggle,
me.
fear keeps us from moving forward.
Yeah, I think it's because it's so much bigger than me. I sense and I feel that
Everything is bigger than
this
us.
message, right?
Everything is bigger than us, Amy.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Everything is. I mean, we have children, right? I have children. You said you had children.
Hmm.
You wouldn't have children if you didn't think that it was going to be bigger than you, because having children is way bigger than us, right?
That's true.
It's the thing that you can love the deepest, but you can't control the outcome.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
Right.
really
And so
good.
this is
Yeah.
coming to you. This message is coming to you and has been for a while. And that's why it's buzzing in your ear there,
Mm-hmm.
because it's time for you to, it's much bigger than you. Of course it is. It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that
Oh,
confirmation.
of course, and I want to say something about that confirmation, helping people. A lot of times if I'm working with somebody, I'm doing a private session or some workshop or event, they'll be like, wow, that is confirmation. I say, well, listen, if I'm telling you something that is actually something you've never heard before or something, I'm just kind of like the voice of spirit, meaning you're not listening to your own, and it's coming through me to help you to dive deeper into that. Because if I'm telling you something that's way off course, then you have it, you're not that connected, right? You're
Sure.
pretty out of the ability to connect your own. If I'm telling you something that is, well, that checks and that's confirmation, that's a good thing. Because
Yeah.
that means you're already getting that. Now, what I usually tell people is you're stuck in the timing of it, right? We're stuck in sitting in it too long. And I got to tell you, that can actually be very harmful to us in our health if we sit in it too long.
Mm.
Which I mean,
That makes-
I was proof of that, sat in it too long. Like you
Yeah.
said, you were getting the nudges. So don't forget the
Yeah.
timing is important as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for
Yeah,
that. That's
very
just
much.
beautiful.
You're very welcome. I do believe that
Yeah.
we're all here to help confirm with each other. And, as long as we, like I said, have an open heart and open mind and we don't cross over people's free will, then I feel like we should all be intuiting for each other and helping each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, a lot
And
of
I
times
love,
people go, "Oh, you're intuitive." And listen, hear me out. I'm not intuitive and you're not. Every single person on this planet is intuitive. So a lot of times, people want to elevate you and kind of make you they
oh,
get
yes.
dependent on you and you're their
Hmm.
kind of guru or, whatever. And that I just don't
Yes.
do that because that's just not
Oh,
true.
me either.
Listen, we
Yeah.
are absolutely all connected. But with that being said, if we're struggling, if I'm going to struggle, if I'm struggling and I need somebody to help me with my physical body, I'm going to get a trainer, right? So you can have support and help, but that's what I am. I'm a support and help to get you where you need to go, but not something you can be dependent on. And I know that you teach the
Mhm.
same thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This resonates with me so
Oh,
deeply. And
good.
I'm sitting here thinking like this message is the key. Like this is really what people need.
It is.
To get
Yeah.
to the life that they really want to live and came here to live. Like this is the message they need to hear.
Yeah.
And that we are doing our parts to get it out into the world. But I'm just going to throw out there like what do we do to make it even bigger? Like, how do we? I
Well,
mean, if you have, what do you think on that? What is your feeling on that?
yeah, thank you. I thank you for the question. I actually feel like we need to stop hiding, first of all. You have to be able to and also honor and respect when somebody says, I don't want to hear it.
Hmm.
So I know
Yeah.
that's right, because a lot of times, we're beating the drum, right? And we forget that not everybody wants to hear the drum. You have to be
Mhm.
respectful of some that are just like, hey, I don't want what you're offering. And that was a big, really, really a big lesson for me is to go, oh, they're not, they're not interested. Whoever the they is,
Yeah.
right? They're not interested. And I thought, I need to be screaming this to the rooftop to everybody. And
Right.
why wouldn't you
Yes.
be interested? And oh my gosh. But the
Yeah.
truth is, we have to honor and respect not everybody's at the same place. And I think, Amy, that's the first step is mutual respect for what we're all experiencing in life. And that's that whole going back to the no judgment. Wow, you don't want this? Are you kidding? Like, what's wrong with you? And there
Yeah.
was a point, and I've been doing this for 30 years almost. So pretty much I've gone through back and forth with that to where this is ridiculous and, wanting to shove it down somebody's throat. And I'm like, well, wait a second. That isn't going to get them where they need to go. And it
Mm.
certainly isn't going to help me because now I'm feeling like I'm pushing something that nobody wants, right? So
Sure.
we have to learn the respect of allowing for it to come to us, allowing the people, you and I are on this conversation because we brought together a platform of saying we're like-minded and we both want to contribute on some level. But if I was actually forcing you to be on this or you were forcing me in order to quote unquote sell our business, and people would know that. You can feel that.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
a lot of times people do that just because, well, this is what I have to do for a living or this is my job. And so I think the biggest thing that we can do in order for the expansion to happen is to start respecting and honoring where people are, just like you said,
Mm.
holding the space, right? Even when they're in a place where you're like, that's not really good for it's not really healthy. And they know that. But us
Yeah.
telling them, how is that helping anything? Right. So it's like backing off a bit and allowing for us to be guided from an
Mhm.
internal compass that tells us, yeah, step forward here, whoop, back up here, right? And just getting a little more rhythm in that instead of trying to say we've got the newest thing and we have the
Mhm.
answers because we don't. It's in
Yeah.
fact nothing. What we're doing is not new by any stretch of the
That's right.
imagination.
Yes.
Go back in history. There's nothing new about
Yes.
what we're doing, but it feels kind of new because, everything ebbs and flows through time. So, yeah. So I,
Sure.
I would say my
Sure.
first answer to that would be just allow yourself to be guided. And we
Hmm.
will find the things that are important for you and I as individuals to be a part of that will be a global reach, right? But
Yeah.
not out of knowing that we have to do this and everybody else is wrong. And,
Yeah.
because that's just not the truth. And
Yeah.
what if people think that what we're doing is just ridiculous and you're listening to your intuition? well, they're not your people. And that doesn't mean they're
Yeah.
wrong.
Hmm.
And to
Yeah.
be able
And
to respect, I mean, look at our world. Like we're having a whole big conflict on how do we respect each other if we have different views? Like, how do you do that? Well, one is you
yeah.
don't judge yourself and you don't judge them, and you allow space for, again, holding the space for everybody to find their way and be able to converse in such a way that there is contribution on both sides, even if we don't agree. It's
Hmm.
huge.
Yeah, it is. Holding
Yeah.
space it's really, really powerful. Most people don't
Yes.
really understand. It's not advice, it's not
Nope.
therapy, it's not judgment, and it becomes difficult. But I do it because of this exact thing, because I don't know the answer for you. Only you know the answer for you. And I'm simply a vessel holding
Agreed.
the space for you to find that answer within yourself. I'm not giving you the answer. You
Well,
have it. I'm mirroring it back to
can
allow
I
you to
ask you
see it.
something? Because everything you just said was absolutely, it's the truth and it's how we are functioning in our world. So you and I just talked about how that ringing and it's something that's deeper. And again, like I said, left side knew it was your left ear. What if you were to put a word to that? What's the message that's coming through? Is there something that you're afraid of? Is it being known in a particular way? Is it, and you don't have to tell me all of it. I mean, if you don't want to, but I'm just curious, like, you're getting the nudge that's saying it's
Hmm.
got to go, I've got to go in a different direction, or maybe not even different. I have to expand the direction I'm going in.
Yes.
And
Yes.
right, is that more like it? What's
Yes.
the fear? Because why would we be afraid if we're not, what's the fear around it? Is your
Yeah,
fear about your
I know what
personal
the
life
fear
or,
is.
oh, you
No,
do?
no.
Okay.
When I
Are
started,
you willing to share? Because it's okay if you
sure,
aren't.
yeah.
It's your
No,
platform.
I'm open. Yeah.
Yeah.
When, had an article come out where I was featured with Mel Robbins and one with Brene Brown, and I've,
Oh, okay.
done a lot of things, and people
Yes.
started referring to me as a celebrity, and that just didn't sit well with me. I really don't like being put on a pedestal. I'm just a human like everyone else, and I don't want people to elevate me to that point. And
Got it.
I that's where the fear comes in. I don't want to be put on a pedestal.
But Amy, so let me ask you a question. Do you put them on a pedestal? The two people you just talked about? Yes, when I do.
Um, kind of.
Yeah. So hold on. So that are you willing to go
Yeah.
here?
Sure.
Are you, like I said, this is your podcast, so I don't want
Yeah,
to, I don't
no,
want to, but
sure,
you
let's do it.
listen, this is what I do, right? So this is
Sure.
I go to that root core issue, right? And so I feel like if I can help you like pull that root out, you're going to be
Yeah,
there in a bigger way for the world. And
sure.
I absolutely love that you've been placed in a platform that your gifts are being received, right? And yet your fear of I don't want to be a celebrity. Well, what if that is the platform that's going to bring more consciousness to the world and you don't have to, because if you see them as celebrities and you have made them something other than just like you and I, human beings having a
Right.
conversation. See,
Mm-hmm.
that's the issue. The issue is what you've done to them, you're afraid is going to happen to you because you're doing that. Now, I know we can say the world's doing that. The world's having, Mel Robbins and is elevating them, but that doesn't have to change who you're being. Because if that's what has to happen for you, if that's where you need to go, let's say you and I, get a worldwide podcast together because we're going to go authentic and we're going to, we're so afraid of doing that. But
Yeah.
what if that is the gift that we're supposed to do? And we're pushing that down and saying no.
Mm.
Because I got to tell you, Amy, that's part of been my issue in doing this work. It's almost like I temper it back a little bit because I don't want people to elevate. I've said this, everything you just said. I just said it to you
Mm.
earlier. I don't want to be the guru. And so I'm like, well, keep
Yeah.
myself down here, keep myself at this
Yep.
level.
Yes.
Yeah, but doing that, the work that I've devoted my life to, the work you've devoted your life to, it creates such a um, misconception that only certain people that go through trauma, because we both know there's a lot of
Right.
people that haven't told their story that are going through trauma.
Yes.
But what if we could all join together in conversation? And that's where you're supposed to go. And so you keep pushing that down and going, oh, people are going to elevate me. Well, it's already happened. You're just
Hmm.
saying no. And that's going to
Yeah.
be a disservice to you and the other people that actually could take this where it needs to go so that we don't have to be, I don't know the word I want to use, strange, weird, different, because we're not. Like I said, intuition is it's the most grounded resource part of you. And yet it's something that everybody thinks is some kind of phenomenon. I'm like, there's nothing
Yeah.
phenomenon about it. It's the most valuable resource we have. And by the way, nobody that you can't take it from me. That's the one thing. You could
Right.
take my home, you could take my car, you could take even my image. You could say, hey, I don't like her. Did you see what she's doing? But you can't take that from me. You can't take my inner
Mm.
wisdom. Nobody can take that. So it's our most
So
valuable
good.
resource,
So
right?
good.
It's the part of us that, you put me in a, you know, little tiny, cell or shack. I still have that. You put
Yeah.
me on a stage with hundreds of thousands of people. I still have that.
Hmm.
So it's something that can't be taken from us. And I think that well, I know that because I'm a knowing based, right? And you're
Yeah.
getting this hint and you're
Yeah.
saying no. And it will eventually take a toll because
Mm.
this is your purpose.
Yeah. Mm.
So can I
That
ask you,
got
because
me.
those are things I didn't know about you. And
Yeah.
um, do you hide that part of yourself? Now, I'm going to be
I
honest with
do.
you. I purposely didn't do research on you. I don't like.
Yeah.
That's
Same.
why
Yeah.
that's why Malia does
Right.
it, because Malia
Yeah.
is then I can be just me. I'm just the intuitive
Yes.
educator like that I am. Again, I don't wake up and become that. I don't start at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's a part of who I have been my entire existence from the moment I was born to it's going to be my last breath. I know it's my mission, but it's also who I am. Does that make
Sure.
sense? Is to
Yeah.
bring this into to educate people about intuition so that it's mainstream.
Right.
I didn't know that about you and what you were brought into purposely because I wanted to have, I mean, especially it's called Authentically Amy. I was like, I need to
Right.
be coming at this.
Yeah.
So when you were elevated to that, why shut that down?
It makes me uncomfortable. This is what happens when I go to an event where there are people who I don't really know and they start asking me about what I do, like a networking event.
Yes.
And then if they start finding out these things, then this little crowd gathers around me and is just
Good for
fascinated by
you.
my story,
But
fascinated
that's
by
the
my
whole
story
point.
and wants to know more about me. And then I'm just like, oh, I don't want to draw that kind of attention to myself because I don't want
Okay,
them to see me any differently than they are.
but Amy, they have to elevate. I mean, what if, so you mentioned Mel Robbins. What if Mel didn't open up her door and didn't say yes to whatever she's going through? What if she didn't do that? What if, name a celebrity that is really doing good in the world? I mean, it can go good or it can go bad. And what I'm saying, if I handed you a knife right now, what you do with that, you could do harm with that, right? You could do harm to yourself, you could do harm to someone else, or you could, slice a nice piece of, of steak or something that you're going to have for dinner. You could do
Mm-hmm.
something really wonderful with it. You could do something horrible with it. Why would you be afraid of actually knowing that, wow, this is how I'm going to contribute? Because everybody is given that choice, and your fear of being noticed is rooted way back to being a child.
Yeah,
Like there
it
was
is.
something that occurred. I
Mm-hmm.
know, I can feel that,
Yeah,
and
it
so
is.
you got to go back and grab that child and say, hey, it's okay. Look at my heart I got emotional for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there was a point when, and I know this one because my goodness, the tears. I had the same thing like, ooh, what if they see this part of me and they take this part of me away from me because they think it's strange, or what if it's too much, or so we dim the light. You've heard that, right? Look at
Yeah.
you got me in tears here, Amy. You had that same experience. And when we dim our light, we dim it so that we don't stand out. But the truth is, what if that's what people need? So let them surround you. Who cares? One person, thousands of people. It doesn't make any difference, because if we're contributing to one person in such a way that is going to change their life, if you change one person's life, why wouldn't you just change as many as you want? So you're like, I can do it one-on-one, but boy, I'm not going to stand in front of thousands. Well, that just dims the light. And I do
Mm,
believe, I mean, I do know, like message wise, right? Because I'm a knowing base into it.
sure.
It stems back to when you were a child.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, if we could go back and get the root of that and pluck that out, and you won't
Yeah.
have that anymore. In fact, you'll probably see that crowd of people as one person.
Mm. Ooh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I need that for sure.
Yeah.
I could, this conversation
Look at
could
it
go
as one
on for a long
soul.
time.
Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying though, Amy? Like,
Yeah.
see your
Yeah.
thousands that are surrounding you and like enthralled with what you have. They're sitting on the next word that you're going to say. I've experienced that. That's what wisdom is.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's what true intuition and spirit is when you are, I mean, look at people that go to see a concert. There's one person on it. We went and saw Chris Stapleton soon. Could you
Oh,
imagine? Like huge crowd. That
yeah.
man literally has to be like, I'm just sharing my soul. I'm sharing my spirit. And he probably sees one soul and we're all in
Hmm.
it, even though they're all little individual people. But I was so grateful. My husband, loves him and we were able to go and experience him. But what if he was like, man, I don't want to do this. You can
Hmm.
stay humble knowing that your gift is coming through. I know this because I've had this where you're like, I don't see one person I'm talking to. I see a group of people with souls that are craving truth.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I believe I'm here to share the passion of that. And so are you. Actually,
Yeah.
everybody is.
Right.
Everybody has a gift and a passion and a connection to their own soul in such a way that is like if you didn't temper it, just look at a child. If they didn't temper it, it just
Yeah.
kept growing. It's incredible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
I
I
got to tell
love
you how much
this.
I appreciate you because usually on a podcast or something, not everybody lets me do what I do best because, I can tell you about what I do but not everybody lets me actually into their experience of life. And
Yeah.
you did. And I thank
Yeah.
you because this is my guidance. It's not like I turn it off or I turn it on because I came on this, it's just there and
Sure.
present with me. And when people let you
Yeah.
have an authentic conversation with them and say, hey, I'm picking up on something, it's so beautiful, because
Mm.
we're changing the trajectory of where you're going by you going, I'm going to embrace this.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Oh,
And again,
such a
we could talk
beautiful.
more about what that was, but I think you know what that was. And I
Yeah.
felt you shifting, going back there, going, yeah.
Yeah.
And I keep saying I think, I really get that you're trying to protect her because you couldn't
Mm.
protect her then, or you didn't
Yeah.
protect her. Okay. And what I'm
Yeah.
saying to you is you're surrounded. You don't have to worry about being protected. You've got this.
Mm. Oh, you're making me cry now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I know the
Thank
time
you.
has just flown by.
I has flown by.
I know
Yes.
you need to go. Just
Yes.
please tell people how they can reach you and get a hold of you. I will put it in the show notes as well, but go ahead and
Okay.
say it so that they can hear
Yeah.
it.
So it's just my name. It's lynnmbunch.com. So lynnmbunch.com. Check me out. You'll know everything there is to know. We have you'll see the programs that are in there for all of my curriculum, which is the ID Blueprint curriculum that I've developed with all my teammates over 30 years now. And that's in there as well. You just go to the programs, centerforintuitiveeducation.org.
Oh, perfect. All right, Lynn, thank you so much. I have
Thank
loved
you,
this
Amy,
so
for having
much.
me.
Oh my gosh.
What a
Of
mission you're
course.
on, my dear. What a mission you're on. I'm happy and
You
I
too.
now I get to watch, right? I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you
Thank you
all for
so
joining
much.
us, for tagging along, and I please share this so that this message can reach the world and we can help more people. And until next time, I will be here holding space for you. Thank you for being here. And to my guest, thank you for your honesty, your courage, and your truth. It's an honor to hold space for people like you. If something in this episode stirred something in you, if you breathed deeper, softened, or felt a pull inward, consider this your invitation. Whether you're ready to share publicly or prefer to remain anonymous, I'd love to hold space for you too. This work isn't just for podcasts, it's for people everywhere. And I'm bringing it into businesses, schools, communities, organizations, anywhere humans need a place to be, and for someone to hold space for them. To learn more or to schedule your own session or to be a guest on this podcast, visit www.getamyshelp.com or just reach out to me. I'll meet you with open arms and a quiet, sacred seat. Until next time, thank you for being beautifully, unapologetically human.